good to start over?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hello, Internet. I'm Dan.
And I'm Chaz. This is Wine is Serious Business, episode 169, Sample Show.
We're here with some samples today from Zonin Winery from Italy.
Look at this guy.
Yep. Pretty slick.
He's beautiful.
We met the one of the American sales reps, Natalie, at the Wine Bloggers Conference this past year. She sent us some samples. We had a talk with them because I looked up at their website, and they talk a lot about how Zonin's known for being one of the biggest producers, one of Italy's biggest producers, one of the world's biggest producers. And I told her in an email, man, that's not what we do a lot of, and that's not what our audience drinks a lot of. So if you could send us some stuff from some of your side estates, that would be more interesting to us, and of particular interest to us, stuff from Sicily and stuff from Moscato to Asti. I've enjoyed in the past, so I'm willing to check it out. Sure enough, she included some of that in the box she sent us. These are 3 wines that we thought were worth talking about. We're going to start out with the Nero d'Avola from Sicily. This is their Principi de Butera estate.
There you go. I think you got
Butera.
that. Yeah.
Man, and this Principi. I don't speak Italian anymore.
We
than I
got
speak French.
We have American tongues. So.
We're sorry for the pronunciation.
Yes,
I'll apologize for that up front. But Nero d'Avola from Sicily, stuff we're interested in. 2010, lower alcohol, 13%.
A very, very easy nose, right?
Yep. A little bit of fruit.
Sweet red fruit.
Blackberries, a little bit of vines, but not in the way that Cabernet Sauvignon does it. The vines aren't quite so green.
No. And then a little bit like the red vine licorice.
Sure, touch of that, yeah.
Like red gummy bears.
A little bit of earth there too. I'll give it that. So. Clean on contact. Actually, it's funny that you said that on the nose. Like the red vines, I'm definitely getting a touch of that around the sides of the palate.
Yeah. But nothing really wrong with this. I mean, the fruit is fairly simple, and it's really just bright, sort of red fruit. Not like we say that we use it as script a lot with Pinot. This is on the darker side of that, but it's just sort of a little bit sweet right out front.
Yep.
And,
on the darker side of raspberries, maybe edging in towards raspberry jam. It doesn't have the weight of a lot of wine. I would never describe this wine as jam.
Jammy.
Yeah.
But it's got the jam flavors.
Just edging into that.
Right. Enough acidity to sort of come in and clean that stuff out.
And not too much for you?
No, not at all.
And I'm kind of feeling it. I'd say it's on the lower side, but it definitely, boy, if the acidity were significantly lower, this would be jammy and pretty difficult, I think.
Yes.
And so there's a good, that definitely brings some balance to that sweet fruit.
Mm-hmm. And, ends pretty shortly though. Right, the acidity comes in, sort of, it doesn't overwhelm, it just tells everything when to stop. Everyone closes their music books, they all put their instruments away and walk off stage, and that's sort of how the finish is with this.
But I think it's clean, and a little bit of that vine flavor I think offsets the sweetness just a little bit too. So, not a whole lot of complexity, but simple, enjoyable fruit.
Nothing wrong with it. But.
And so, 85 points for me. I think it's clean, simple, enjoyable, and a little bit of research you did. We're guessing this is around $15.
Yeah. I
think it brings it for that price. Pretty solid. Yeah.
I'm gonna go 82 plus for me, right in the middle of good, because there's no qualities that are particularly wrong with it, and I don't like or I don't hate the way it tastes, but I'm not excited by it. It's a nice wine though, and at $15. Yeah, wouldn't be scared off by it. Someone pours you a glass, or you see it on a glass pour, and you don't know what anything else is, or you want to try some Sicilian wine. It's not bad.
That's a good point too, actually. If you want to just dip your toes in it, and
this would be easy.
And there's a lot more culty stuff out there. Are there Nero d'Avolas I've had that I'd like more? Yeah, but I bet you can get this a lot of different places, and there's definitely value in that. If you're curious about checking out Sicilian wine, that'd be a good place to start.
Good point. All right, so next wine is one of my favorite grapes in the world.
It's the Sasseo Primitivo, and this is from the Masseria Altemura. Butcher some more pronunciations. Apologize for that. This is from Puglia.
I'm glad you're doing it.
Yeah,
I'm really bad at it.
Somebody's got to do it. I don't know, and that's who we are, right? We're not professionals. We're not wine experts.
No.
And this is where the truth comes out. Situations like this, but it's in southeastern part of Italy. They get influenced by the sea on both sides, but it's warm, right? It's like right on the Mediterranean. Well, Sicily's on the Mediterranean.
Perfect for Zinfandel.
Right. So right,
Perfect.
Primitivo. See, again, if we were professionals, we know exactly how this goes.
No. So the one thing that I have liked Primitivo in the past, and I'm typically a hater of Zinfandel, but Primitivos tend to come in at a lower alcohol. Like when you look at New World Zinfandel, it's always like 14 plus, sometimes like 15.5, right? And is everything I hate about the grape. Like the grape is already kind of a strong flavor, and then you put a whole bunch of alcohol and extraction behind it, and it's just overwhelming every time I taste it. And so I will say I have had Primitivo in the past. I enjoy it. And it's typically because it comes in at like 12.5, 13% alcohol.
Nice.
And it's not over, the already strong characteristics of the grape are not so powerful. They're not overdone. So
yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so
not turned up to 11.
Is this one? This is not a Sicilian wine. This is
not Puglia, so it's another state, right?
Okay.
Sicily.
You know more about this than I do.
Well, I kind of learned it in the book, but like I said, that's the kind of the southwestern side of Sicily, and this is the southeastern, right? The heel of the boot.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
All right, let's try this out.
And definitely you got characters of a more ripe wine, right on the nose, like some really ripe fruits, maybe just edging into like some dried cherries, which I'm fond of. I like dried cherries.
Oh yeah,
a little bit of figs. A little bit of figs going on.
This has got the dried cherry, dried cranberry thing. Like you got a bag bulk,
and
you open it up, grab a handful of it. It's like
I love the bulk dried cherries though. I really do. Like I mix them into trail mix when I go hiking.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Dried cranberries are a big one I like.
Fruit all over the place here. A little bit of spice. Can't even put my finger on what spice it is.
A little bit of darkness to it too. It's almost like I wouldn't call it pepper, but it's somewhere in that characteristic, like some sort of earthy component to it.
And so a good comparison between the two, right? The nose has at least got enough complexity to make it worth talking about, right?
Right. Yeah, we're sitting here talking about it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Not going to change your life, but some interesting things going on.
It's gotten a touch better since we pre-tasted them.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of like sweet red fruit that's coming on this. When we first tasted it, it was all the Zinfandel that I'm not terribly fond of. There's just this like underlying layer of sweet red fruit behind the darker flavors that are on the palate. That's kind of interesting.
And we were talking about heat a little earlier. I'm not getting any on it. It says this is 13%. I think that's consistent. There's a little bit of acidity, and it seems lighter on the sides, but right in the core of the palate, I'm getting some nice fruit, just like bright red fruit, touch of sweetness, a little bit of tartness too. So right, we're edging into a little complexity. Wouldn't call it a complex wine, but the fruit's got some enjoyable character to it.
Totally. And this one's getting a little, structurally, we're getting a little stronger here too, right? You got some tannins sort of squishing it on the sides of the cheeks, a little bit of stronger acidity coming down the center of the tongue. But like Dan said, not terribly complex, but overall a nice wine.
A touch of evolution on the fruit, actually, which I definitely dig. I'm getting just a little bit of bitterness coming in on the back end, which still kind of works because of the sweetness. I think it offsets that sweetness a little bit. Kind of works well together. This is a tough one to score because it's a simple wine in its presentation, but there's still like a touch of complexity, some good flavors. 86 plus for me at sub 20. I'm totally feeling it, and in certain situations, I'd be pretty comfortable recommending this wine. I'd say, like as a glass pour at a lot of places, this would be really nice.
Right. If you need a Zinfandel on your list, but you don't want something that's going to bruise or like overwhelm the food you're serving.
Yeah, and again, probably an interesting, well-distributed introduction to wines from that region.
This is a little less interesting than some of the Primitivos I've had in the past, but this is far more enjoyable than many New World Zinfandels I drink, and that's sort of where I place it. I'm going to go 85 points on it. This is right at the very bottom, starting to get pretty interesting for me, and it's an enjoyable wine.
And I'll throw this in there too, based on what he just said. Open this up at least 30 minutes before you drink it, because right before we started the show, we thought there was going to be a huge contrast. He was going to hate it, I was going to be happy about it, and it's changed substantially in the 30 minutes we've had it open. And for what it's worth, too, these are not at like room temp 70 degrees. These are a little cooler.
Yeah, probably like at 62, 63. So.
If that plays into it at all, I'd say, probably don't drink it at 75 degrees. But I'd say that about Zinfandel under almost any situation.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, a slight chill on Zinfandel is already a good idea.
Yeah.
So, all right.
So, there we go. 2 red wines down. We're on to the white wine. Time to drink some candy.
Yeah. Big time candy. So,
this is some Moscato d'Asti.
Yeah, I guess that's not over pouring on the rinse, right?
Yeah,
it's 5% alcohol.
Right.
So
easy drinking. And this is from the Castello de Poggio sub-label or estate that they do, and this is their where they make Moscato d'Asti. A few other wines. They've got these different estates spread out throughout Italy. So there's like the main Zonin brand, and these are all sub-estates that are still owned by them, but designed to represent specific regions of Italy. And I think that's a cool way to do it too, instead of bulking everything together, to try and retain some regional character, which is important to Italy. And it's nice to see a big estate do, because I think a lot of America's big estates, or especially people who are operating on this scale, don't bother, right, trying to preserve regional identity. So cheers.
And wine nerds love it. Wine nerds like it, so yeah.
And gives people like us a chance to be a little more specific about what we want to try. So
fingers are sticky.
Yeah,
from pouring
candy, right? And Moscato d'Asti is very typically a sweeter wine, and
this is sweet.
It's jumping right out of the glass here. You know what you're getting into. You're like kind of like canned peaches with a little bit of the syrup.
Yeah.
But what's
pineapple juice a little bit.
Jumping out of the glass all over the place is like elderflower. It reminds me kind of like Saint Germain, which I'm kind of fond of. It's a flavor I like, but it's sweeter liquor, and
I don't drink a lot of that, or I don't drink any of it, so.
But it's got this floral note, a little bit of lightness. Keeps it a little lively too. I like the sensation that it brings. This is 2011 too.
For me, it's all the canned fruits, but there is some freshness to it that's quite nice. It smells really good. It smells awesome, right? Like this is
candy. It's candy wine.
Breakfast wine. Yeah.
Yeah. Delivers on the palate pretty much what you'd expect, like that elderflower flavor again, like tying it again to the Saint Germain. That's there. The canned peaches, a little bit of syrups in there. Man, the canned pineapple as well. Right. So this is a little sweeter versions of all these fruits, right? These aren't the pure, fresh, zippy versions of these fruits. These are.
Oh, this is juice.
Yeah.
This is juice, and
it's sweet.
Some good acidity, but the sweetness overwhelms everything. There is a lot of it, but there's no cloyingness to it. It's like it does end very clean. But it's like juice. Like it really does feel like it's 5% alcohol, right? And it's got a lot of sugar, so you're essentially drinking grape juice at this point.
Lower acidity too, right? Like definitely, personally, I think this would be better with a little more acidity, but
right. And for me, I would honestly call this low acidity, right?
But the bubbles help keep it a little lighter,
right? The use of acidity and bubbles in this makes it taste or makes it feel exactly like juice.
Yeah.
And there's nothing bad about it at all. Like it's very, very easy to drink. Anyone's gonna like this. There isn't a single person on this planet that would drink this and be like, I don't like this.
Yeah, people hate sweet
juice.
Wines. People hate sweet wines, but you
can tell them it's not a wine.
Yeah, I was saying.
You wouldn't even tell them there's alcohol in it.
Yeah. It's true, there barely is, right?
Right.
You can buy beers that have more alcohol in this, so
right.
Easy drinking, not a lot of complexity, but it's just fun, enjoyable, friendly. A wine you could pour for people who hate wine, and they would probably enjoy this.
Absolutely.
Especially Americans, right? Like the cliche about us loving sugar is totally true. And,
it is.
Yeah, and I think you could get some, and I've edged people into wine with Moscato d'Asti, definitely in the past, and you could definitely get some people to like dip their toes in the wine vat, so to speak, with something like this.
That's wonderful. Very easy drink. I like it. If I was doing yard work all day.
Yep.
Anyway.
Simple sipping.
Yeah. I can't score this wine. It's just juice to me, honestly.
Yeah,
I told you I wasn't going to score it earlier. I still can't score it.
I don't remember you saying that, but I guess you can get away with it.
I like it. No, I 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, that's where it comes in, right?
Right. It's super easy to drink. It's super enjoyable. I have not a single bad thing to say about it. But when I talk about wines and talk about this, it's something completely different.
It's like drinking juice for you.
Yes.
For me, I'm gonna go with 84 points, again, holding it back, like there's not a lot of complexity, there's not a lot that really gets my attention, but I think it really does what it's there to do. It's also $15, right, so definitely sub 20. And I think, you know, if it crosses your mind to try this, if you're even thinking like, hey, maybe I should get a bottle of this, I'd say do it because it's exactly what you expect from Moscato Asti. It's not going to change your life, but it's going to bring you something sweet, something fruity, something easy to drink.
And something really enjoyable.
Yeah, and so, it, you know, it delivers what you expect. So, a solid showing, I guess, for you know, for wine, sub 20 bucks, large producer, right? Like generally high volume. Even the smaller states we were looking at this, like they're all still around, you know, right around 400 acres, right? Some closer to 3, but still that makes a pretty big estate in Oregon, right? A lot of the people we drink from Oregon have less acreage than that, so still
true.
Pretty high volume producers. The upside of that, it's well distributed. A little bit of a gauge for those of you who live in other parts of the country to see what we think of stuff that
that's a really
that you see on the shelves, right? And interesting for us to see, you know, just kind of see what's going on in different parts of the world. So
we appreciate the samples. Thank you very much.
Yeah, cheers for sending them out. And question of the day.
I got it.
Oh, okay.
So we're looking at. I couldn't classify the Moscato with the other wines, right? I couldn't score it because it's like it's something different to me. But do they make high-end Moscato, like very, very high-end Moscato? Does it get really complex? Does it get? Do you see what I'm saying?
I totally see what you're saying.
Do you have a producer? Do you know of something where it's like you gonna pay?
No. Well, Vietti Moscato costs about 20.
Okay.
And that brings it home for me.
Okay, and that's got the complexity and the wine complexity and the acidity. And,
yeah, and I really like it, and I'm sure, and I'm not educated about it, right? Like, I'm sure there's stuff going on in Asti that if you travel there and made some friends, right, like just like anywhere in the world, right?
Yes,
there are some people that have been
privileged to the good stuff,
doing it in their basement and was taught by his grandfather, and you know, and then there's so much variation, so much specific flavor and texture that if you look around, you'll find something that speaks to you especially. I haven't really had that. The Vietti's the best that I've had so far.
So that's my question then. Like, so this is pretty much average for Moscato that I've had in the past, and I can't say that it's really gotten much more complex for me, honestly.
Nice. So this is right in line with what you expect. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So. Is there more complex Moscato out there, and what is it, and have you had it, and what is it? So, that'll be my question to you.
Sweet. Cheers. Thanks for watching.
Sweet.
See you next week.
Exactly. See you guys next week. Yeah.